All right, so hi everyone. Good morning. It's been a while. I posted about my journey in digital scale up Africa, the incubator organized by Pastor EA Adeboye. And so, for now, I've been posting about my learnings in DSA, right? What I've been learning so far. And it's been a long time why I posted about it. And that was because I decided to try something new, which is get a project and do something practical with it. So it's more of learning and also doing it on a personal project I've been working on for some time, which is the church management software, right? Okay. So before I go into what I've been doing, I'm going to walk us through the topics we have covered so far. So in week one, we did an introduction to software development and software development life cycle, the process behind it, then introduction to software development methodologies and all. Then week two was introduction to programming language, where he told us about different programming language and their syntax and what they do. Then integrated development environments, what we use as programmers to write our code. Went into programming essentials. All that was in week two. Then week three was introduction to backend development and APIs and all, where we exposed to what API is all about and how it's been structured, what to know about it and all. Then taught us about introduction to database as well, like the difference between SQL and no SQL. So for the SQL, they showed us Postgres, right? Why for no SQL, they use the MongoDB as an example for it. Then they gave us a source code like to use and go and practice, right? So for week four was all about big O notation. It's talking about time complexity and space, right? So there are different ways to solving a problem, right? So it is very important we know the best solution. What best solution means, what is the time complexity and what is the space complexity for that. Then we went into sorting algorithms, right? Data structures, arrays, hash tables, linked lists, and all. Week five was all about version control system, that is GitHub, and how to use it. Since we'll be working on a team, and yeah, then system architecture and design principles, like when you are about to start a new project, what you need to do first. First of all, you need to design the whole structure of how the application is going to look like, from application to user registering to signing up and logging in and interacting with the application. Then understanding software requirements and user stories. What should be the MVP, right? The first MVP when working on an application, right? Then product requirements document for link shortener. All right, so week five, right? Week five was about week five. So week six was about introduction to front end, right? Introduction to modern front end framework. So he told us about React, Tailwind, CSS, and the usefulness of it. Then building a simple web page. In class, they just showed us our tutor showed us how a web page is built and all. Week 7 was connecting our front end to back end, right? So the front end is ready, the design is ready, and how do we connect them together? We do that by um, the APIs, right? Once the APIs is built and we have our front end ready, we just call in the APIs, and that's how the connection is being made. Then we looked into authentication and authorization for the backend part. So a lot was being made. And finally, week 8 was DevOps and continuous integration. So, I mean, it's overwhelming learning all this. So, if there is one skill, if there's one thing I've come to understand is that when learning, when you are on the learning journey, you should have a project that you would learn along, right? So week 5 was all about GitHub and all. So what I did was fine, let's me start afresh. I know I created a project before now that was still on my church management software. So I used pure HTML, CSS, JavaScript to do the front end, which had no backend and all. But for now, I want to start afresh, right? Using new patterns and new techniques that have learned over the months in DSA, right? So I started off with creating a repository, gave it a name, church management software, right? Okay, then after which let's go to the code. So I showed you what I've been doing so far. All right. So first off, this is my Visual Studio. I've done a lot, right? So I've created the first endpoint that has to do with the sign up, the authentication aspect. So before now, I had to start off by structuring my models, right? So my chart management application is we need these properties, which I believe will be needed. But as time goes by, it's going to scale and expand. Maybe more properties will be added and so on. That will be added here. So for now, I'm working with these properties here, first name, last name, and so forth. And for the role, I believe this software would have the owner, admin, group leader, member, user, and all, right? Basically managing the church administration and managing the operations of the church, right? So I have my rules and I have my permissions, which I'm yet to figure out. I'm yet to figure out now. But starting simple is more of, let's start by focusing on building the user management and also um, creating the authentication aspect, right? So I structured my folder this way due to based on an experience I had when working on a live project. So I saw that same pattern and I decided to copy that flow, right? So this is my folder. This folder actually would have all my backend implementation. I'm starting by building my backend first. I'm going to start building most of my backend APIs right before I go into the front end. So for now, I'll be focusing more on building the backend because that is where my strength is. Strength in backend. Okay. So as time goes on, as I learn DSA, as I make some research, I'll go to the front end to apply what I've learned. Yeah. So for the backend, I started off with creating a folder called features. I would have my models and services and controllers and all, right? So this is my user model that has these various properties. I'm making use of Postgres type ORM. Yeah, type ORM and Postgres, which is my database. It's my first time of using Postgres, project because in DSA, Postgres was used to teach us. So I just decided to try that out just to get to know more and also to practice how to write script writing because I do not know how to do that. So I have to learn how to practice script writing and all. Video is going to be long, but let's proceed. Let's proceed. Okay, so these are my properties. I know these are my properties. I know I have my model, my folder. Structured is divided into the model. I have my services that takes care of communicating with the database, right? The database, just keeping it simple, right? Not having so many things in a file. Like I'm following best practice, I'm following solid principle, right? So I have my services that just communicate with the database and all, and my controller that takes care of the request and response. Any request that is coming from the front end, my controller processes it and sends the request to the service layer, which communicates with the backend. So instead of having all my requests and all and this same file, instead of having one file handling both the request and also communicating with the database, I had to split them into this. All right. So this manages my service, and I have another file that takes care of the routes. So currently I have just um, this take care of the routes, right? Fetching all users because my application is going to have features where the admin will have to get all the details from the user, like get all user details. So I've already created an API for that. Yeah. Then that is for the user module, right? The main thing now, right, is the auth. The auth has my, we go into the service. So I have already implemented for the register and login based on the example that was shown to us in class and explained to us. So I got that idea and used that in my application. Yeah. So I have the email, short name, ultimate size. When registering, the admin first of all will create the account for the church, having these following properties on sign up, right? The email, short name, approximate size, first name, last name, password, and all. Okay. Then after signing up, I've been thinking if they need, after signing up, they would route them to the application, or they need to verify their email. I'm yet to decide that. But for now, once you sign up successfully, automatically you are admin. Yeah, because you're the one using it and you get into the application, right? So I've done that. Then the method that handle generation of tokens. Also, I have service for logging in a user that takes in the email and password, right? So already done that. So just the login and sign up is ready. Then I have my file for the route. I just have the sign up and login as well. Same thing with the controller that takes care of the request and processing the response and all. Okay. So the class is last week. Okay, before now, the also learned how to make use of Postman. So before now, I've been using it. So Postman is backend UI, assuming I'm a backend and I don't have a front end to test my API. So I need a tool to test my API. So Postman provides that feature whereby I can just plug in my APIs and run the request, and it's going to show me the responses the backend generates, right? So after creating the APIs and all, I created my an account on Postman for now. I just have the sign up and the login. I have the sign up endpoint and the login endpoint, right? So this is my sign up endpoint, that has this, how the front end is going to look like. So church name, the Emegbue Baptist Church, the approximate size of the church, the first name, last name, email, and my password, right? So for my DB, I did something new. Like I said, I've been practicing, I've been working on this for some. So in our last class or 2 classes ago, the tutor exposed us to the use of Postgres. Like we can actually deploy our Postgres database. I had struggles doing that, but I had to reach out to the tutor. He told me how to go about it. So currently, I have succeeded in deploying my Postgres database, which is running, although it's a free package which will expire in 1 month's time. That's July 11th. So I have this set up. My Postgres database is running. Right? It's something I've never done. I've never deployed a database before. So this is my first time of doing that, and it's feeling is amazing. So that is that. And what else again? So it's time to test, right? So these users are already in application. So what I would do is to use another data to test the API. So for sign up, before I do that, I have to run the application. I have to run the local host and all. So I'll go to my, I installed Postman on my VS Code. Yeah. Instead of installing the application, I have to install it there direct. So I'm going to run nodemon server.cs is where my setup is happening, right? So I start the server in this file. So this server.ts is basically calling my app. It's calling my app. The ts that has all the routes, calling the route, and also calling the APIs as well. All right. With time, I'll explain what element does, cause, Morgan. All these are, then because of time, I will not go with detail, right? But this is just my setup for now, just having the user and the authentication route for now. So I'm going to run my terminal code to set up the database. Then one thing else is my migration, which I learned, DSA. So I learned how to create migrations and all. I don't have time to cram it, so I had to add a sticky note where I write the syntax because it's my first time of doing this, right? So I have a note. npm run migration to generate a new migration. So for every update you make, you have to generate a migration just to keep track of what you have done. So if there is a new model you added, you have to run migration for it, and it will get added to this migrations folder. All right. So it's set up, database connected successfully, server running on port 9,000. So I'll go to my sign up Postman, give it the name. So let's assume I know this user is there, right? So assume I decide to send a request now. Like decide to send a request. Let's see what will happen. User with this email already exists due to the code I've written. So I have to give it a new user. So I'm going to +3. Yeah, give it a new user. Send a request, gets added, and I have my token generated and the details. User successfully username, the ID sent to the front end for manipulation and all, email and the token gotten. So that also works same for logging in. I'm going to use the same email to log in. So I'll call my login. I'm going to test my login endpoint to make sure everything is working fine. All right. So I have my body here. They're calling my 3.5. Assuming this is the password, right? What if I inputted the wrong password? What should happen? Right, invalid email or password. Okay, good. With the right password and hula, I get signed in with these details. Right, starts with school. It's 200. So far so good. Progressing little by little. Yeah, my endpoints are working fine. But I have a challenge, which is I can't see, before I was just working on my local Postgres DB, okay, but after deploying the Postgres DB, I am finding it difficult to view my data. Like now I have 2 users currently in the application, so I can't actually see the users, the data that is being populated. So that is my challenge. I don't know how to go about that because I've tried to connect this to the Postgres application, and it's been challenging, telling me wrong password or wrong details or something. So if you have any idea, you can let me know. Give it a try, right? Okay, so I think that is all for now. In my class on Wednesday, it was the most interesting class ever. Why was it interesting? That's because we learned about unit testing and integration testing, and he showed us how to go about it, and he also introduced to us CI/CD, DevOps operation, how it's been set up, the script that is written. Yeah, and I said to myself, wow, I could actually apply that in this project. So everything is working gradually for me. So in my next video, I'm sure going to apply the knowledge of DevOps and running unit testing or integration testing for my small little endpoint that I've created, little step by step. Yep. So see you in my next video. Thank you. Bye.